Hey guys, what's up, and welcome to Taking Over the Photo Pit, a music photography podcast. My name is Boston, and I'm a concert photographer based in Los Angeles, and I started this podcast under the name Women in the Photo Pit. And I started this podcast because I really wanted to feature and highlight women in the music industry and create a safe space for them to learn how other people have navigated the music industry and just really talk about their experiences and learn from each other and kind of build a community. But in doing so, I realized I really wanted to have a safe space for everyone. And I thought the Women in the Photo Pit name was excluding people when I really didn't want to. So we have a new name, and I'm so stoked about it. That being said, this week's episode I am also super stoked about. I am talking to Michelle, who is a concert photographer based in the Bay Area here in California, and she is so sweet. But the thing that I really wanted to talk to her about is her journey specifically, because she has done so many talented things in such a short amount of time. Not only does she own her own publication, but she is also a house photographer at 2 venues, and she's only been doing photography for a handful of years. So I'm so excited to hear her journey and have her share that with you guys. So we're gonna jump right into this week's episode and introduce you to Michelle. Hi, Michelle. I am so excited to have you here. I have kind of taken a little bit of a hiatus from the podcast and interviewing people, and you were one of the people that I was talking to for a little bit that I was so excited about talking about, mostly because it sounds like you have done so many cool things in the industry and not necessarily too long of a time. So I'm so excited to hear about your journey and how you got started and everything. So let's just jump right into letting you introduce yourself and talk about how you got started in photography.
All right. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me on. I've been looking forward to this for a long time, so thank you.
I feel so honored.
I'm honored. But I'm Michelle. I'm originally from a small town near Fresno, but I moved up to the Bay Area to finish my education at Cal. Go Bears. But I got into photography at a young age. My hometown was very country. My backyard was a goat farm. So I'd always steal my mom's Polaroid cameras or old 2003 digital cameras and just take photos of the goats and everything that I could see. And that hobby kind of evolved during my community college times when I took on a social media position at my community college, and then also did portrait photography for a friend when he was graduating. And I was stunned that he asked me to be his graduation photographer because I had no experience at all. I didn't know anything about shutter speed or aperture, and I barely knew the specs of my own camera. But the photos came out surprisingly well. That's don't awesome. Have them anymore, but I remember being happy with what came out. Nice. And then when I transferred to Cal, I joined their on-campus TV network called Cal TV, and they just started their music department, which was the sister department to their whole entertainment sphere. And there was an option to photograph and review a concert, and I was already going to see this band called Bad Son, so I was like, I'll take it on. I still didn't know anything about my camera. And when I looked back at the photos after, I could see everyone was blurry, everything was blurred out. I knew then that I could have done a lot better, even looking at blog posts from Matt Patel and stuff like that. Yeah, I just could have done better. So since then, I kept growing and learning, and then I stopped photography after that, went back to it my last year at Cal as a portrait photographer. And then last summer, I took photography more seriously, and I joined a music magazine as their writer, another one as their photographer, and then I did some kind of unconventional ways to get models to build up my portfolio. I joined local Facebook groups, but I also promoted myself on Tinder.
Oh, wow!
Yeah. And it worked out really well. Like, some of the people I shot with, I'm still friends with. So,
that's so funny.
Right?
Did you get kicked off of Tinder? Wouldn't
No.
that be, like, against their rules or something?
I surprisingly wasn't. I only did it for, like, maybe a month or something, but I got a few really good models, and I deleted my account after, but, like, that whole month, no one reported me or said anything. They're just like, I'm down.
How freaking funny. I love that. So I guess random tip to people listening, if they need models and aren't getting any, through Facebook groups, go on Tinder.
Honestly, yeah.
That's awesome. So you've been doing a lot of like portrait work and stuff since then, and then obviously expanding your concert work.
Yeah. I was thinking back to how I got back to concerts. I think it was I was on Craigslist at one point looking for, because I'm a social media manager as well, but I was looking for side gigs on there. And I saw this local club called DNA Lounge was promoting having house photographers. So I got into that just for fun. And I did like their boudoir shoots and their concert shoots and stuff. And then I realized how fun it was again to do concerts. And then that's how I got more into the scene, and then made my own magazine to have more lenience with photo passes, and then that grew. So now I'm just focusing on that right now.
Nice. What is the music magazine called, and how long have you been doing that?
It's called Cut It Out Magazine. I started it in November. I expanded it in February, because originally it was just going to be a solo project where I just photographed people and this was my portfolio. But then it started growing, and I got more requests to do reviews and articles, which I love writing reviews and such, but it got to a point where I had so many requests that I was like, I should add people that want to have their foot into the music industry, give this opportunity and stuff. So I opened it up, and exciting. Everyone's loved it. The photographers are on hiatus, which is okay, but some of them went on or have been onboarded to be writers, so it's kind of navigating through what we're going through right now.
Yeah, that's really exciting. So, especially that you've had like so much growth in such a short amount of time. Yeah, so with starting your own publication, I had another woman on here, Skylar, who started her own publication, and hers continued to grow. And that was one of the things that she said is like, it really helps you create your own like network and relationships by communicating with those people, and then like you have that sense of ownership because you have your own publication and stuff. And to me that just seems like so much work, but at the same time it does sound like such a useful thing to start to help grow your career, and then like you said, give back to other people also helping their career or helping to grow their career. So that's really exciting that you did that. Was there like one thing that pushed you to starting that publication versus another, or was it just like you really wanted to get out and shoot more?
It was a combination of me wanting to shoot more, and also the last magazine I was part of, it seemed really exciting. Like, the owner was really excited to start this magazine and stuff. And then 2 or 3 months later, all of a sudden, there was no communication and the magazine just stopped. So then I'm like, and it kind of sucked too, because there was this band called Paris that I really wanted to shoot, and I was shooting it through them. And the show was 3 days away, and then the magazine ended, and I didn't have any contact with the press person. So that really ticked me off. But I feel like the girl was just really busy with everything. And so it was kind of hard balancing having a magazine and also like with schoolwork and stuff, so I completely understand that, but it's still I feel bitter, but that's what pushed me to being like, I should start a magazine and see if I can do it too. And yeah, it's been really tough, but it's also been really rewarding simultaneously. So, and it's really cool saying that I'm a founder of something on my LinkedIn. So that's a plus.
You get that little check mark. You're like, I get to brag about this. That's really exciting. So one of the things I like to ask is, working in the music industry is like notoriously hard. Like, people have, you know, struggles making money in this industry. When it comes to you, and like, we're just talking about your publication, like, are you selling like ad space on your website, or are you currently like not making money off of that publication? Because I know some people sell like prints. So I was just kind of wondering how that goes, you know, hand in hand with your career. Like, are you trying to scale it up to a place where you can make money with it, or is it something that is kind of like a passion project?
I've been thinking about that a lot, and I think that I do want to scale it up because it has a lot of potential. The main mission of the magazine is to give a spotlight to artists that go against the norm, and that can be not being defined by a certain genre or doing things that could be political or something like that other artists you don't see a lot. And I've been wanting, like, my main mission, even with my photography, is to just give people that I feel deserve recognition, to get like their people to have their eyes on them. And I used to be part of a different magazine that does monthly issues of it. They also have it online, but it's mostly just promoting the print publication of it. And I've been wanting to talk to her about how she schedules her monthly content or monthly posts, and then how another magazine is able to give or sell ad space onto their publication as well. And also looking into switching platforms, because I currently use Squarespace, but you have more freedom if you use other platforms like WordPress and such. So I've just been looking into that a lot more, because I feel like all people in the music industry should have the opportunity to get paid to do what they love instead of working for exposure, as a common phrase here. So I feel like while they love what they're doing, I feel like they should have the opportunity to get paid for what they're doing and not sacrificing their time and such. So yeah, definitely. I know that all of that is so hard to navigate, especially when you have a passion and you get started with it, and then it's like, okay, well, how do I make this into like a career? Like, what's the next step? And it's so exciting, but at the same time, it's like, you got to follow your passion. And then it's so nice to hear that you're really hoping to, you know, help people get paid, and that's always good. I wanted to talk a little bit about your house photographer roles, because you brought that up in a few messages that we had back and forth, and I just wanted to talk about like how you got started in those, and maybe even any tips, if you have any tips and recommendations for other people that want to get involved as a house photographer. Oh yeah, definitely. I feel like opportunities happen in weird times and weird places, like the DNA Lounge one with Craigslist. If I wasn't frantically looking for opportunities on there, I don't think I would have ever seen that. And I was interning for this music promoter called Another Planet Entertainment. They help with the creation of Outside Lands in San Francisco. And I was able to network and also become friends with the people in the company. And then I learned about their house photography positions at their smaller venue called The Independent. And I talked to the owner of the independent through that company and was able to be the photographer for them. And I feel like I was very lucky to have that opportunity. And also, it was such a weird chain of events to get to that part. So I feel like for anyone that wants to be a house photographer, just keep your ears and your eyes open because you never know what's going to happen.
Nice. Yeah, I have heard from quite a few people that their interactions and how they got to their house photographer roles were just like communicating and networking with people in the industry, just being a part of your local industry. And you're just repeating that here. So it's like, yep, just keep plugging away, guys. Like, keep doing what you're doing, and then like you'll eventually get to where you want to be if you're, you know, moving in the right direction.
It's funny too, because really cool. I'm like a shy person in person. I feel really introverted right now because I don't talk to anyone like that's not my friend, so I'm just like, yay, new people to talk to. Yeah. But, I kind of like, I pushed myself to get out there, and that's what helped me a lot, because usually I just see someone and be like, oh, they're cool. Yeah. I'll just ignore that. So it kind of helped me like get to where I am.
Yeah, that's so funny. I feel like a lot of us that are photographers are very introverted, and it's so funny because I'll say like, oh, I'm very introverted. Talking to people online is like a totally different thing to me. But like going up to someone in person, like especially at like a venue and being like, hi, look, I'm a photographer and I would love to work with you. Terrifying. Just absolutely terrifying. And it's like, how did all of us introverts get into this industry? And like the biggest thing is that we have to network to make it in this industry. So one of the other things I wanted to ask about is I personally don't tour. So I was wondering if you are a touring photographer as well, or if you have that on your list of like things that you'd want to do, or are you like me and that's just like a no, not going to like get into that part of the music industry?
Honestly, I would love to have like a touring opportunity at least once, because I remember in middle school, I always wanted to have like a career or something that'll allow me to travel. Because I don't travel much, but I want to. So just having that opportunity would be, like, amazing.
Yeah, I can see that. There's something about me, we're just talking about being an introvert. There's something about me that I like to stay home. I like to stay in my little bubble. So I'm like, I don't tour, but I like asking people and bringing it up. Because there are so many people that want to tour and try that in the future. So do you think that with like your house photography roles, do you think that that's something that you're going to leverage, like kind of communicating with bands more or trying to get into touring? Or are you just like trying to see where the industry takes you for now?
I think, trying to see where the industry takes me. I suck at planning sometimes. I just let whatever happens. That's kind of my motto. And it's been working out. So we'll see where I am in like 5 or 10 years.
Gotcha. Well, maybe we'll do a follow-up podcast in 5 or 10 years and be like, are you touring? Or probably on a world tour doing something incredible then. So okay, let's dive into some like really just kind of short questions, just to like hear more about you and your style. Are you a Nikon, Canon, Sony, or other shooter?
I'm a Canon shooter. I've been thinking of switching to Sony though.
Oh my gosh, that like, I feel like that comes up all the time. Everyone's like, yeah, Sony's very tempting.
Yeah.
Is there a reason for why you're thinking of Sony right now?
I used my friend's Sony camera and it was so much lighter. And the quality was a little better with doing night shoots, because even with my Canon at a low ISO, I have a lot of grain and also shoulder problems at the end of the day. So just thinking about it with that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's an interesting point because, like, especially for, like, young shooters, is I've heard numerous complaints about, like, back problems and shoulder problems. And it's like, we're young adults.
Yeah.
Like, we shouldn't be having, like, body aches. But it's really, like, the DSLRs are so massive, especially when you have, like, a 70 to 200 lens on it.
Oh, yeah.
It's even more massive. And then you're carrying that around all the time, and it's just a whole thing. So I definitely understand, like, the physical appeal of Sony and, like, the mirrorless. That's really funny that you bring that up. Do you shoot any video by chance?
I tried, but I didn't like it.
I love that honest answer. Just, yeah. The reason that I ask that is because I've seen a lot of people get into both, where they started as, like, photo and now they do photo and video, or they started as video and they do photo and video now. So was there something that, like, tempted you to try out video, or did you just want to see what it was like for your own experience?
Yeah, I wanted to see what it was like. It wasn't with concerts, but it was with, like, this Halloween shoot that I did with a friend, and I wanted to do kind of a, not behind the scenes, but I guess a promotional video for it. And I edited it, I color corrected it, I looked back at it, and I'm like, I don't like this.
That's so funny. Video for me just takes forever, and it's because I'm not used to my editing process. Like, I have my photo editing process down, and it's just, like, something new for everyone. But I love asking that question, and I think that you have had the most honest answers. Not really. Not my jam. I love it. Okay, can you describe your photography style in 3 words?
Ooh, wow. I'd say dreamy, vintage, moody.
Ooh. I love that. With vintage, I have to ask this question. Do you shoot any film then?
I've been getting into it, actually.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Are you hoping to, like, bring that into the, like, your concert stuff, or kind of focusing on it for portraits, or, like, what do you want to shoot film with?
Ooh. Honestly, I've been seeing a lot more photos on Pinterest about, like, photographers shooting concerts and film, and it looks so pretty. So I want to try that out at some point, maybe at one of the smaller venues in the Bay, but we'll see.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I'm excited to see your photos. If you do a whole show in film, I definitely want to see it, because that sounds like a challenge to me. What's your favorite show that you've ever photographed?
Ooh. It has to be the Struts.
I love them. I haven't shot them yet, but
they're so good. Like, I was just getting into them when they announced their California tour. And then when I had the opportunity to shoot them and when I was there, I was like, this is so cool. And I keep looking back at those photos right now, and I'm like, oh man, I wish I was back.
That's awesome. I know that they move around a lot. They're really engaging and really exciting, and that's, like, one of the things I love capturing, so I can definitely see why that would be a favorite.
Yeah. Their outfits had, like, little tassels and hanging things and stuff. It was so good.
Yeah. I love how, like, all of us, like, concert photographers, I feel like, get so excited about movement, and then, like, when an artist wears something that has tassels on it, like, I know that I'm like this too, so I love that you, like, mentioned that, because I'm just like, ooh, tassels.
Yeah.
Like, that's gonna look so great in photos.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, am I weird? Yeah, no, I love them. I love their style. So, like, I definitely get why you would have that as a favorite.
Oh, yeah.
Do you have any bucket list shows upcoming that you would love to shoot? I know that we're in a weird slump right now with the stay-at-home orders and stuff, but has it got you thinking about shows that you want to shoot, and any like bucket list shows, wow, okay, that you have right now that you want to talk about?
It was funny. I've been more active on Twitter lately for my photography account, and I had a list of shows that were coming up that I tweeted about, and then the pandemic happened like 2 weeks after I posted the list. But
Ooh.
I can't wait for them to come back next year, but it looks like it'll happen in 2022, but it's cool. But the artists that I had on my list were AJR, Billie Eilish, Surfaces. Watsky was doing a kind of like a throwback tour, and he was playing an album that I really loved, but I wasn't into him at the time that it released. So I'm looking forward to that show. And then Kesha was coming back, and this artist by the name of Eden was coming back, and his album Vertigo, top tier. I had that album on repeat ever since it came out. It's so good.
Oh my gosh, that's a great list. Especially like Billie Eilish and Kesha would be phenomenal to shoot.
Yeah.
Haven't shot either of them either. So cool. Are there any photographers that you look up to?
I look up to a lot of my friends that I've met in the industry, and also just we randomly became mutuals on Instagram because we liked each other's work. There's 2 in the area that I met. One's Anome, or Ono Photography on Instagram, and the other is Tanya or T Liliana, sorry. But their work is just so vibrant, and they really capture the energy super well on their shows. But there's other photographers, mainly portrait photographers, that I really like Wolf and Rose. She has that vintage aesthetic, but also very moody and deep, and just there's a lot of emotion in her work. Yeah, just those 3 are like my favorites. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. The reason that I love asking that is because like a year ago, I started actively following a lot of people on Instagram, and just like following, if I saw like one photo from them that I liked, or if I met them personally or knew that they were at a show that I was at, just like adding them to like make sure that I not only had that connection, but that I was like following their work. And I'm getting so inspired going through Instagram and seeing other people's work. And I love hearing of, you know, other people just saying like, this is a photographer that I like looking at their work. I look up to them. They're very kind, and like I get inspired by what they do. And I think that's such a great like mentality to have, and like keep moving our industry forward. And I just love finding new photographers to just like share the love, you know?
Yeah. It's so cool too, just like there's a lot of mutuals that I have on Instagram that I'm low-key too scared to say hi to, but I admire them from a distance, and I take a little inspiration from them as well, and just look up to them a lot. So it's been fun just following people and then having them follow me back, and I'm like, oh my god, you like me too.
You're like, I'm so honored. This is amazing.
Yeah.
No, I totally get that feeling. And it's so funny because I do the same thing where I'll follow someone and like not say anything to them. I'm like, I don't want to reach out to you. Like, I don't want to do anything. But then the moment that I do, they're always so kind. So I'm like, why am I hiding and like not talking to them? I'm like, oh. Everyone in this industry, especially like the women that I've met through this industry, are so incredibly kind and like willing to like talk to anyone about anything all of the time. That I'm just always like, yes, follow more women, follow more people, like, share the love. That kind of goes into my next question. This is the question that I love asking in these interviews, and is really kind of the question that I founded this podcast off of, and that's, have you experienced any prejudices from working in the music industry or being a photographer in the industry? And this could be anything from ageism, racism, sexism. And the reason that, like, I kind of give a caveat explanation every time that I ask this is, when I started in the industry, I felt like there was a lot of sexism, and there was a lot of things that I felt very, like, kind of biased. Like, people weren't asking me to do things. I felt that there was, like, a lot of shade thrown at me in the pit, and just, like, I don't like the word, like, microaggressions, but microaggressions pretty much, that I had to deal with when I was starting in the industry, because I wasn't necessarily young, but I was a younger woman. And even though I love this industry, I think that the only way that our industry can grow is by talking about things. And I wanted to bring light to the fact that, like, even though there's a lot of women in this industry, the people that kind of dominate the music industry are older men. So I wanted to, like, kind of bring it up, and if you're comfortable talking about any, like, prejudices that you've faced, or anything that you want to talk about that you would like to see, I guess, our industry do better.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting that you pointed out too, because every shoot that I've been at, I'm usually the only female photographer out of, like, 4 other men. And at first it was really intimidating, but sadly, it's sad to say it, but I kind of got used to it. But I feel like it's that sort of barrier of seeing the music industry as very male dominated, that a lot of women are like, don't want to get into that, or just, it's not the right word, but are, like, too afraid to get into it. Which I understand, like, it's a scary thing to navigate through, especially, well, even back then, but now too, it's just, like, not, lack of better terms, it's not a fun time. But I've experienced a couple microaggressions, especially the last 2 shows that I shot at. There was one where it was me and one other female photographer, and we met up before the show happened. We didn't even know each other, but we saw that we had our cameras, like, around our shoulders in the bathroom, and we were just like, oh my god, another woman, yay! Nice. So we stuck around, and apparently that was, like, her first show that she ever photographed, so I, like, told her a little bit about, like, what to expect and stuff like that, and it was nice. But there were 3 or 4 other guys in the pit, and they were cool. They just minded their own business. 2 of them were friends with each other, and they didn't talk to us, but we were just like, we're just here to take photos and leave, that's it. But the opener came out, and the girl and I were in our corner, and the guys were in their corner, and the lead singer only paid attention to the male photographers, even when the girl and I kept going around the pit trying to get, like, the best angles and stuff. But he only interacted with the cameras held by the guys, and he only, like, pointed at them or gave them the best action shots and stuff. And she and I were just standing there like, okay, this is what's happening. Wow. Cool. But the main performers were really nice. They, like, were equal to everything. So I really appreciate that. And then at the struts, the barricade was really overcrowded. There were, I think, 10 or 15 photographers there, which I did not expect, but you had to, like, find your spot, and that was your spot for the 3 songs, and you had to go. But sometimes you were lucky, or the photographer next to you was really nice, and you do, like, the old switcheroo, and try to get into their spot and they'd get into yours to get better angles. But there was one guy who was taller than most of us, but the most aggressive. And he only shoved the girls in the pit. When I talked to the other girls after, we were like, yeah, he only shoved me. Like, the guys were fine. And he'd kind of get in the way of our shots. And it was just not good. There was one point at the end of the show where, or not the end, the last song, where the security was like, time to go. And it was so packed that it was hard for us to move out. So there's one point where the line stalled to get out, and I was at the very end. So I took that little opportunity to like take a photo of the artist, and the guy was behind me and he punched me in the shoulder to get me to move. And we only moved like 2 inches after that. So I was like, I guess I won't pull out my camera anymore. But I got out. I think he like left after the show or after that. And then I brought a friend with me, so we just enjoyed the rest of the show. But yeah.
I'm sorry that happened to you. I've heard stories about like photographers getting, like your last story, like kind of angry towards other people when it's not their place. Like, let security do security things. If someone's doing something out of line, like that you're upset about, like don't punch them in the shoulder. That's like no one's place. Like, exactly. What? Yeah. No. And it's like, regardless of what anyone is doing, like, if you think it's right or wrong, like, no, don't do that. Security's there for a reason. And it's like, of course, if you're stalled and like stopped, I would sneak a picture. Like, I know that like some security really hates that, but it's like, that's up to the security. That's not up to another dude in the pit, you know? I did want to say, like, when we first started talking about this, one of the reasons I started doing this podcast is to highlight other women in this industry and like talk about like your career, your success, your growth, strictly because like when I started as a photographer, I only knew of like 2 other female photographers, and they were like way out of like my tier. Like, so I didn't have anyone that I felt like comfortable with that I could like reach out to them and like help navigate the industry. And it's so interesting because I feel like there's so many of us. There's so many women in the industry. But at the same time, like, I didn't have anyone to like reach out to. So like I wanted to be kind of that middle person of, you know, people can reach out to me if they have questions about like starting in the music industry. But if someone like really connects with you, it's like, okay, they can go follow you on social media and reach out to you and talk to you and like look up to you on your work and your growth. I just think that having those people that you relate to is so important. And like you kind of touched on that a little bit of like, you know, being in the industry with like going into the pit and there's only guys, it's hard to like kind of navigate that and like the emotions and stuff that you feel around that. And it's like, well, you can't talk to other dudes about it because they just like don't get it. So I wanted to throw that in there, but I'm totally on the same page, and I'm sorry that you've dealt with shitty experiences. I know that it's always never fun.
But I guess adding to that too, like finding the Facebook group, Girls Behind the Rock Scene. It randomly came up on my suggestions, and I'm like, there's this many women in the industry, and it was just cool interacting with everyone in there. And I was able to bring in my friend who's non-binary into the group as well, and they've been able to find their peers and support groups. So it's just really nice finding your community, like you said.
Yeah, definitely shout out to Girls Behind the Rock Scene, because I've leveraged that group so many times, and it's really nice having a community that you can feel welcome in and home at.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, so let's just jump over to my last and final question. I always feel a little sad at the end of this when I'm asking this one because I know that the interview is done, but at the same time, I love this question. What is the best piece of advice that you have ever received that you would love to pass on?
Ooh. I don't remember exactly what they said, but it was when I graduated college and I didn't know what to do what I wanted to do with my career, and I still kind of don't. But I joined a lot of Facebook groups with my interests and stuff, and there are some people that were like, I want to start a blog, or I want to start my photography business. And I've been thinking of this idea for a while and building up my business model and brand, and I just don't know when I should start. And everyone would say, just do it, just start, and you'll learn along the way. And I took that to heart a lot. I just do it. And if it works out, it works out. But if it doesn't, at least I tried. So
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Just do it. Ah, that's great advice. Okay, well, we're ending on that. Thank you so much, Michelle, for joining me today. Before we sign off, can you please give a quick shout out of like where everyone can find you on social media?
Of course, my username on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook are Neoni Creative, Neoni Creative. It's French. And yeah, you can find me on there. Maybe I'll be on TikTok. I don't know yet.
TikTok's like a whole nother ball game.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh. We were just talking about how video, you know, it takes so long to edit and it's just like not the jam. And now they throw TikTok at us.
I miss when it was Vine and you just had a 6-second clip of whatever you were doing, but now you have a whole minute of transitions and effects and stuff. And
people are so talented on it. Like I've seen incredible photographers on there, like with their transitions and beautiful work, and just like I can't put that much effort into a 60-second clip for social media. But anyway, thank you again, Michelle. I really, really appreciate you being on this podcast. And everyone, please go check out Michelle on all of her social media and send her some love. And thank you again. And have a good rest of your day.
You too.
Bye.